Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with a surprise guest and returning guest to the channel, Mr. Adrian Hernandez. How you doing, sir?
Let's go. Good morning. I'm alive. I'm excited. I'm full of energy. I'm ready to get back on these calls, man.
There you go. There you go.
Been an interesting last couple of months.
All big things, man. Doing some big things. Hey, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about and you about specifically is you have done a wonderful job of kind of setting big goals, setting up plans to achieve your goals. And you know what? It's that time of year. It's the middle of December. Lots of people are already starting to think about 2022 and how it's going to be a game changer for them. So I want to know from Adrian Hernandez, when you are quiet, when you are by yourself and you are thinking about what's going to happen next year, you know, how do you envision that? Why don't we start there first? When you were thinking about next year, how do you kind of set that up? How do you kind of set these big goals, these aspirational goals? And then we'll get into how you break them down. But when you get quiet, Adrian, how do you do it? What do you think about? How do you know what's possible?
Yeah, great question. And the first thing I want to say to this is I've noticed, I posted this on Instagram last week. I noticed a lot of people at the end of the year, a lot of investors, or let's just call it human beings in general, we start to look at all the things that we didn't do right. We start to look at everything that's missing, everything that didn't go right this year, the house that I didn't buy, the unit that I didn't refinance to pull my money out, whatever the case may be, right? We start looking at all the negatives. So the first thing I do is I start looking at all the things that I did right. What were some good things that I did right this year? What were some investment moves? What were some properties that I bought? What were some moves that I made? Some deals that I structured that went very well. Oh. And then what I do is I take that and then I find a way, okay, based on what you did well, how can you get better at that next year?
Nice. Okay.
Right. Versus looking at all the things that went wrong that you and I both can't, I mean, no one can control, right? No one can control that. So instead of looking at things that we can't control and things that we don't have, let's start looking at things that we can control and things that we do have. So I start doing that at the end of the year, and that helps me get super clear for next year on what my activities need to be. And then I really start looking at, okay, if I did, let's just say, you know, for starters' sake, say I bought 2 units this year, right? I bought 2 units. Okay, great. So then next year, if I did 2 with the knowledge I had this year, what can I do with the knowledge I have next year, knowing what I know from these 2? Well, can I go for 4? Is it possible? And I'm going to start. I actually have it in my book, and I'm grateful for Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins does this Date with Destiny every year, and we go through this workshop where we're all goal setting, right? And so he has you write a 5-year, and we've talked about this, right? So this is a new 5-year vision of what I want 2026 to look like.
2026, I like it.
And it's going off of how I want to talk about this though. It's going off of all the things that went right in 2021.
Interesting.
Because I can build on that, and I can build on all of the good in 2021 to carry me over the next 5 years. And then 5 years from now, I'm going to build on all the great stuff that happened the last 5 years and continue building forward.
That's amazing.
So I've learned what we have to do is create goals that are, yes, they're achievable, but they're also a little outside of comfortability.
Yeah.
Some goals that get us to go, oh shit, okay, I just bought 2. I want to buy 4 or 5 this year. It scares me, but I know I can do it. Yeah. Right?
I like. So first off, mind blown already. So thank you for that. You're so right. Even myself individually, when I think about next year, my mind, and it won't do this, I will not let it happen this year. My mind goes to, okay, what are the 2 or 3 things I missed last year, right? Because I come into every year, I have a series of goals. I share them on my channel every week. My mind goes to what is yellow or red, right? Because I have green, yellow, red. Green means I hit the number. Yellow, I'm within 10%. And red, I missed it. My mind goes to yellow and red because unless I want to drop the goal, which sometimes happens, I'm like, if I fix that, everything else works. But you're so right. If I just changed it to, what went right, and like I think I have 7 goals I share every week, and 5 of them are amazing. I should think about the 5. How can I capitalize on those? So just mind blowing. So thank you for that. Next, I want to talk about this being a little bit uncomfortable. So let's use your example of 2. You closed 2 this year. You're building on 2. You think you can you think 4 is possible, right? So 4 is in the comfort zone in this example. How do you give yourself permission, to say 6? Because you're not going to say 12, right? Because 12 is like so crazy. It's just not there. But how do you get past saying 4? And how do you know that you're just uncomfortable enough?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I want to, the first thing I think about when we talk about the uncomfortability is we all have a threshold, right? Everyone has a threshold, and that threshold, let's just call it 4 for right now, right? That
Sure.
threshold is 4.
Yeah.
So in my mind, whenever I see that threshold mentally, I always ask myself that, we've heard from David Goggins, right? The whole 60-40.
Yeah.
I go, how can I go 60% above what I'm already doing?
Okay.
So let's just say it's 4. How can I go? I know that I'm only touching 40% of my potential. Let me take that 60% up. So what would that be? Maybe 2 more?
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Maybe 2
All right.
more. Okay. So let's go to 6. Okay. Perfect. Based on studies, I know I can do 6. Based on what I see out there, on what people are doing, knowing, and I'm just going off of mental things that I've gotten from Goggins, from Buffett, from all these other great entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is whenever we think we're done, we have so much more to go. So the same thing with our goals, right? When we think we hit a great goal or it's a big goal, I think we can go 60% above that. And I think we can bring it up a level, and that will also transpire physically, mentally, and spiritually next year, because you're going to ask yourself, where's your threshold? Okay, how can I go 60% above that physically? How can I be a little bit more connected spiritually this year?
I like it.
And that's really helped.
So in this example, I love the thermostat. I think you're absolutely right, because again, I love the thermostat. I think that was Ed Milet was the first one to bring that up to me, where you just have this natural number you're comfortable with. And he's absolutely right, because let's say your number's 4 in this example. Some reason you get to 6. Some people self-sabotage and take them back down to 4, right? It's a weird, your mind is an interesting space to play.
Interesting. Or you shoot for 4 and you get to 2. And because the last year you did 2, your thermostat is set to 2. So you naturally turn off.
Run into the wall. Yeah.
And even though you may think you want 2 more, that thermostat, there's no air pumping through those vents. It's off. The condenser's off. So how are you going to pull any juice?
Yeah.
Right. So, and then also, this is really important, making sure that we're surrounded, that we're in communities like Michael Zuber's community. So when you go in and you share your goal of doing 6, everyone is there to support you.
Right.
And when you hit 2, you have everyone saying, hey, what about 2 more? What about your 2 more? Versus other people going, hey, you hit 2, man. Great job. You did 50%. Lay off.
Yeah. This is so amazing, because again, I share everything on my channel. So I just went through some mental gymnastics the last 2 or 3 weeks. So, I have this contest behind me, this 500 number, right? We talk about it every day. I think we're at like 340 and we have 6 months to go. So we're going to crush that number. But where I just got comfortable, I gave myself permission to say out loud, Adrian, is I'm going to help 1 million people close on their first or next rental property. Now, that's not a 1-year goal. That is now a lifetime goal, right? And for the longest time, I knew it was possible. I wasn't comfortable saying it. Right. And the key, tying this all together, right? Because again, I come to experts like you because you help me be better, is I need the network effect. So I need to think about what worked really well in 2021, because the only way Mike Zuber, can help 1 million people is if I can help 10,000, but I need the other 990,000 to come from the network. I need to help some, they need to help someone. So I need to promote that. I need to promote, if I help 10, they help 10, and it just goes from there. So this is a lot of fun to think about.
That's cool. I think of that movie with the kid from The Sixth Sense, Pay It Forward.
Yeah.
Pay it forward.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
A great concept.
So the other thing I want to talk about here with you, again, this is going to be a longer episode than normal because it's just that important, is a lot of my life, Adrian, my goals were rather narrow. It was go make as much money as possible. That was all I thought about, which meant I didn't think about health. I didn't think about my family. I didn't think about spiritual. I didn't think about any of these other things. And I will sit here today and tell you that was a mistake. And I share that with folks to hopefully realize that anytime you are single threaded in life, bad things can happen. So I would challenge you to, maybe money is the most important thing today, but that doesn't mean ignore everything else. Would you
Yeah.
agree?
Absolutely. And the way I see it is it's like a pyramid, right? And the foundation, a lot of people make the foundation money. And the foundation is not money, right? The foundation really is you. It's the
Mm.
physical you, right? So it's interesting that you bring this up because every year, and I got this from Alex Lair, you know, Alex Lair, he taught me this, him and Denise, they taught my wife and I how to do this. Every year we get an at a glance calendar that you buy at Office Depot, right? It's physical, it's laminated, it's big. It's like
Yeah.
3 feet long. And what we do is we take that calendar and we look at the entire next year. We do this every November and we take a look at 2022 and we go, okay, what are the personal things that we're putting into this calendar? We first start with personal.
Nice.
So what's going to make us happy in 2020? Not make us happy, but what are going to be some things that we enjoy doing that spark happiness, that spark joyfulness in our relationship, rather that be travel? What are we doing? And that's the first thing we put down.
Nice.
The second thing we put down is what are we learning? What events are we going to? How are we growing our mind, right? And then we put down, are there any fitness competitions we're doing? And we put those on the calendar. Before we've even put days worked, how much money we're earning, how many units we're buying, how many units we're selling. Before we even go there, we start with the foundation, which is us. And then from there, the last thing we look at is, okay, how many days are we working and how much money are we earning?
Nice.
And that comes last. So the first thing we think about going into the year is us. We think about, because remember, guys, if the foundation is money, how good is that foundation?
Yeah. It's lots of opportunities missed because I was single threaded for a long time. So,
and same thing with me. I had a coach that only taught me, it was all about money. Who cared about your personal life? Who cared about, it was just all about money. And I was grateful to have God, I believe in Christ, and I had God slap me in the back of my head to help me realize that's not what it's about. Hey, dude, you can have all the money, but you eventually, do you want to jump off a bridge because something didn't go right in the future, or do you want it to be about you and then money secondary? And that's another thing I want to touch on real fast. For when you guys are setting your goals for next year, remember this: whatever you are attached to, you will have less of. Whatever you are attached to, you will have less of. You ever try to chase a dog that got out? What does the dog do?
He runs.
He keeps running. He thinks it's a game. The same thing with money. When you are attached, I have to have it. I have to have it. I have to have it. Running for it. Leave me alone. I gotta get this. All you are doing is it's just running further.
Yeah.
So instead, release your attachment to money. Release what your meanings are to it. Focus more on you and the little things, and you'll notice money will start to follow you. It's interesting how that works.
No, that's so good. And then the other thing I want to give kind of some coaching to when people, because a lot of people are going to start thinking about 2022 if they haven't already, is I believe 2022 is not going to be like 2020 or 2021. That could be good or bad, right? If you are sitting here and maybe you're a real estate agent and you are selling everything like hotcakes, I think 2022 is going to be different. Maybe you're working and you haven't been to the office in 2 years, right? I just think that next year is going to be different than the last two. And I don't want that to just stress people out. I want you to prepare for it. I want you to think about it. I want you to realize that, we're probably not going to go back to 2019. It's not going to be like a rewind. But I think 2022 has got to be closer to 2019 than 2020 and 2021. We can't keep, it just feels weird. I think the Fed's going to surprise us today with some hawkish statements. I think I think we might have a recession next year, right? We were kind of in the dance of a recession in late 19. I think we have a recession next year, if not next year, the year after. So I just want people to realize that the environment around us, there are things you can't control, and some of that is the economy. So I don't want people to be surprised that the economy might be a little different next year.
Yeah. And again, why we have to really focus on what are our personal goals next year, because who knows what can happen financially, right?
Yeah. There's just a lot of things that are going on. And again, so when I sit back and I think about next year, for me, I haven't done this, but again, that's why I have experts like you. You help me be better. I might go get one of those calendars at Office Depot And I'm just curious. So 365 days. I mean, how many of those days were like non-negotiable? Like, honey, we're going to Hawaii, and I'm just making this up. Honey, I'm going to Hawaii. We're going to go out to Arizona. Was it like 35 days, or how much of the year did you say, is already booked?
So when we look at the year, we end up taking a good two months.
Okay.
Solid,
So 60
right?
days.
Yeah. Throughout the entire year. Right.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
we also leave some flexibility because there are random, hey, let's go to, I don't know, random vacations. Let's go to Montana real quick. Right. So before the most part, it's about 60 days of personal.
That's awesome.
Stuff that's in there. Yeah. And one of that is our anniversary. So every anniversary, it doesn't matter what's going on. We take off for a whole week. Nice. Right. And that's like our
me time.
Exactly.
Nice. Yeah. All right. And then what? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's just do it with your spouse. If you have a boyfriend or girlfriend where you guys are serious, do it with them. Don't do this alone and be like, hey, honey, this is what we're doing next year. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Note to self, don't do that. Yes. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah. Would you also involve the kids? Let's say the kids are of age, teenage years.
100%.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, well, that's what Alex Layer and Denise do with all of his kids. They all sit down and it's a 2022 workshop on, hey, what are we going to do? What vacations are the family going on? Hey, mom and dad are going here. Are you guys wanting to come? And it's all there and everyone's on the same page. And then what's cool is for those of you that have younger kids or, maybe you're just getting your career going, you're starting to buy property, you have yourself a buy box, you're listening to experts, like our one and only Mr. Zuber, right? Let's say, you have your buy box and you're looking for property and you start setting these goals. What's cool is you and your family can sit down and go, okay, we're going to Disneyland in June. And then after the training session, you can go back and go, okay, guys, well, hey, that dad's taking us all to Disneyland in June. So that means in May, April, and March, dad has to work these days for us to go to Disneyland in June. And now what you have is you have some accountability of your kids. And I don't have kids yet, so I'm just going off of what, Alex Slayer and other people have taught me. So probably not my level of expertise, but from what I've noticed and what I've seen, you'll start having your kids hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Hey, why aren't you at work? I want to go to Disneyland, right?
What's up, Dad? Go sell something.
Versus why is dad not here? Why is dad at work? Why is dad always working?
I like that.
Right. Two different paradigms. And then, yeah. So just something to think about. I don't have kids yet. It's in our playbook when we have kids. We'll see.
There you go. Well, as we kind of wrap up this episode, I just have to ask, what is something you could touch on your 5-year plan after your Tony Robbins event? Just give us a taste of where Adrian's going to be in 5 years.
Yeah. It's really listening to my mentors, really listening to a big mentor, which, I don't know if you're a huge mentor of mine, and it's listening to you. And it's, I wrote down 150 doors in the next 5 years. I don't know if it's possible, right? I think it is, but we'll see. We'll see. I went over the top on my 5-year. I dreamed really big, right? Yeah. And I did that for a reason, because even if I fall short at 75, well, it's a lot better than me setting a goal for 50 and not hitting it at all. You know what I mean?
There you go. Well, Adrian, you're doing a lot of amazing stuff. How can people follow you, get part of your world?
Yeah. Instagram at Adrian Hernandez and YouTube at Adrian Hernandez. And I just want to thank you so much, man. We've actually tightened our buy box because of what could happen next year. So I just want to thank you for that.
Of course. Do yourself a favor, folks. Follow Adrian Hernandez. He's one of my IG feeds. He's doing a lot of stuff and he's filming a lot of content for YouTube. So I can't wait to see that stuff come out. So Adrian, thanks for your time.
Appreciate you, brother. Let's go.
You got it.